What's up, everybody? I have not uploaded anything onto this channel in a very, very long time, but I decided to make a video, and I'm going to be making it on Magic the Gathering. Now, I used to make Smite content. For anyone who has seen my top 10 best gods in Smite video, you might have remembered that one. That was my most popular video, and I would assume a lot of Smite players have either seen it or seen it, in the when they search for, best gods in Smite or something. But I decided I really wanted to make a video about Magic the Gathering, especially Magic the Gathering Arena, because I love this game. I have been playing Magic for a long time, since I was probably like 10 years old. I've been playing, and obviously there was a long stretch where I wasn't playing Magic because I kind of turned into an adult and it was, looked down upon. But now, I'm in a place where I literally don't care if anyone thinks Magic is nerdy or weird, and I think most other people are, okay with, nerdy gamers these days. So I feel no guilt about enjoying Magic. So with that being said, here is a random video for anyone who's watching. If no one's watching, that's fine. I really just want to talk about Magic. And the newest set just came out today. And it's called Throne of Eldraine, and I really am excited for this set because it has a theme of like Arthurian legends and fairy tales. There are a lot of knights in this set, so I'm really excited to go through it. I bought the so before the set, the pre-release, you can buy 50 packs for, I believe it was $50 I spent on it, and you also get some cosmetic cards. So you get like a new card overlay for Garrick. I think the Cursed Hunter is the name of that Planeswalker card. So, of course, I wanted to spend the money. I really want to open these packs. I've already opened 2, and after the first 2, I decided, you know what? Why don't I record this, and we'll go through the packs. So, I'm gonna stop talking. Let's open some packs. Alright, so I have not really looked at any of these cards before. This is the first time. And so we're going to be going through a lot of them together. And hopefully when I put my mouse over, you'll be able to read it. And I think you can. The resolution might be a little bit off, but I don't think it's too bad. So hopefully you guys can still kind of see everything. But we're going to go through all the cards. And so this might take a while. So just bear with me. So we have Scalding Cauldron, 1 mana. This is a common. Pay 3 mana, tap the card to sacrifice Scalding Cauldron. It deals 3 damage to target creature. I mean, that's not great. They've had other artifacts that are similar to this, where you just do all these things. You have to pay like a bunch of mana and tap and do all this stuff, sacrifice just for damage, and it doesn't make sense to be spending that much. The only reason you would use this is if you want to get 3 damage out at a specific time, or you want to have some artifact synergy. Other than that, I don't think that card's useful. This is going to be the new adventure cards, which are really cool. And the way adventures work, I believe, is you can cast the left side of the card as a spell, usually an instant sorcery, I believe. You can cast that first. Then once you cast it, the card goes into exile, and while it's in exile, you can cast the card again as a creature. So it's kind of a cool effect. This one is Merchant of the Veil. This is a common, 2 colorless, 2 red, and the spell is called Haggle, which costs 1 red. It is an instant, and you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So it's just kind of milling, if you will, or cycling is the term I think I'm looking for. So you can cycle, or you can cast the creature for, like I said, the 2 mana and 1 red, and then its ability is you pay 2 mana and 1 red to discard a card and draw a card. So really, you're getting the same effect here, but you're paying the spell early in the game. So this card has the opportunity to have a turn 1 play, and then you'll have also a turn 3 play. So I think that's actually the main reason these adventures exist, so that you get let's say you get a 3 mana drop, you can still pay the 1 mana for the spell. So pretty interesting. Lost Legion, and I should say, as we go through the packs, we're going to get a lot of repeat comments, so we'll be describing less and less cards. Lost Legion is a 1 colorless, 2 black card. This is a Spirit Knight. As I mentioned, there are going to be a lot of knights in this set, and this card, when Lost Legion enters the battlefield, scry 2. So now scry is something that you do not see on lots of black cards. That's usually a red keyword. So that's interesting. It's a 2/3 for 3 mana. 2/3 for 3 mana is not great. With scry, it's okay. I probably wouldn't play this unless I wanted a knight, though. Scrying is okay. It's nice to scry, but it's not necessary. For Boding Fruit, now this card is going to be the first one that talks about food tokens, and this is something I'm really excited about. So the food tokens are going to be artifacts that allow you to do many things. So if you have played any Magic recently, you may have seen treasure tokens. You can tap those and get a mana. You can use it to tap for mana. But with food tokens, they'll be doing lots of different things. So it's kind of like the same concept, but you can gain life, you can draw cards, you can get mana. So I think there's a lot of uses. So for Boding Fruit, 2 colorless, 1 black. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Adamant is a new keyword. If at least 3 black mana was spent to cast this spell, create a food token. So this is, something that benefits from devotion to black, and target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. That's pretty fair deal, I would say. So I don't hate this card. I think it probably would have some use. Brimstone Trebuchet, 2 mana. 3 mana, 2 colorless, 1 red. Artifact creature wall. Walls in general are not things that I enjoy. I don't really think walls are something I ever want to play, but let's see what this says. So this has Defender, which all walls do, and Reach, which means it can block flying creatures, but it does not fly itself. You can tap this, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever a knight enters the battlefield under your control, untap Brimstone Trebuchet. So that's an interesting effect. So there's a lot of synergy with knights, of course. There's going to be a lot of that in this set. So you can be just kind of dealing 1 damage. If you can get knights out, consistently during a turn, you can just keep dealing damage. The only thing is it also deals damage to you. And there actually is a big downside to Magic Arena in that you can only play 1 other player at a time. So each opponent effects aren't as strong in Arena as they might be in other formats. So let's say you're playing a few other players, that effect becomes a lot stronger. Anyways, let's move on to Inspiring Veteran. This is a Boros card, so 1 red, 1 white. It is an uncommon knight. Other knights you control get +1/+1. That is incredible. That is actually insanely strong. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is there's a white knight card, I can't remember, and I think it did something similar. Also, Benelish Marshal was a white card, which I think just rotated out with the newest. So today, if you weren't aware, a few sets just rotated out, so that means they're not going to be in standard play anymore, and those were Ixalan, Ixalan, I think there was another Lands of Ixalan, was the name of that one, Dominaria, and then Core Set 2019 are all gone, and now they have basically all the Ravnica ones are left, and then Throne of Eldraine, so War of the Spark is in there, Ravnica Allegiance, Guilds of Ravnica, and there's probably another one that I'm forgetting. But either way, this is good. It's a 2/2. I think this is a really good card, something that I would probably put in most Boros decks, or I think there's going to be a lot of, I believe it's Sultai, white, red, black. Those are going to be the main colors that knights appear. So let's move on to the next card, Slaying Fire. Slaying Fire deals 3 damage to any target for 3 mana, 2 colorless, 1 red. Adamant. If at least 3 red mana was spent to cast this spell, it deals 4 damage instead. So, if you think about, the last card that had a similar effect was Lightning Strike. That cost 2 mana. So, if you don't put this in a Devotion to Red deck, you're losing some value. But Lightning Strike is not going to be, I believe it rotated out. So if you do have this in a Devotion to Red deck, it's strong. It's worth the 3 mana, but 3 mana for 3 damage is a downgrade compared to Lightning Strike, because you can't do that turn 2 3 damage, which is insanely strong and has won many games for lots of people in mono red decks. So, but this is still good. 4 damage is really strong. There are a lot of in Magic, usually if you have 3 defense, you're considered a good creature, probably, or not a good creature, but you want to have 3 defense compared to 2, because there are less spells out there that can deal 3 compared to 2. And let's look at the rare or mythic. Let's see what it is. It is a mythic, and it's Circle of Loyalty. I think I've already seen this card. So this is 4 colorless, 2 white. Spell cost 1, and I think so. It is a legendary artifact, and there are going to be a lot of cards with similar effects where they have high mana cost, but they will cost less depending on, I think, creatures or other cards that you have either on the battlefield or in your graveyard. So this is one of those cards. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each knight you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. So that's really good. It's basically, History of Benalia, but it's wrapped up in an artifact. And you get the +1/+1. 4 mana, tap, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. This is insanely strong. I think this just does so many things, and the thing is, the mana cost is actually not that high compared to other ones that I've seen. 6 mana, usually that's a high mana cost, but with night, you can get knights out pretty quickly, so this is just a knight machine, and a lot of synergy with that. So that's going to be in most, if not all, knight decks, I would imagine. All right, let's move on. That was only one deck. Man, we gotta move. We're gonna move quickly here. We're gonna be here for hours. All right. True Love's Kiss. 2 colorless, 2 white. Exile target artifact or enchantment. Draw a card. That seems like a lot of mana for that. This is a sideboard card, something you're probably not gonna play unless you really need it. Ardenvale Paladin, 3 colorless, 1 white. This is a human knight, and it has adamant, so if it's a devotion to white. If you do this, Ardenvale enters battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it, and is a 2/5. Honestly, 4 mana for 2/5 is not bad. That's actually pretty good. Plus the +1/+1 counter. This is not a terrible card, I don't think. I think this is actually got some value to it. Merrileaf Rider for 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 green. It's an elf knight. I don't think there are many green knights out there that I know of, so this is interesting. Sacrifice a food. Target creature blocks Merrileaf Rider this turn if able. Now, I don't really love that because it only has 1 defense, right? So anything can block it and kill it. And it doesn't have. If it had first strike, that'd be different. But yeah, I don't know if I love this. If you want to get rid of a creature with 3 or less defense, this is good. But yeah, there's synergy with the food tokens. Flutterfox, 1 colorless, 1 white. As long as you control an artifact or enchantment, Flutterfox has flying. It's a 2/2. So, yeah, it's alright. 2/2 with flying is fair, but there are other cards that I think cost 2/2, and they're 2/2s with flying without the extra, need to have an artifact or enchantment, so this is alright to me. Prize Griffin, 5 mana, 4 colors, 1 white, flying, 3/4. That's too expensive. We have a blue-red Improbable Alliance. An Is It card. It's an enchantment. It's also uncommon. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. And 4 colors, 1 blue, 1 red. Draw a card and then discard a card. So a cycle. I think this could be really strong. Of course, you would need specific cards in order to do this. So you would need to have a draw deck. So you would want to, you could do like Blue Mill if you wanted to. Get a bunch of fairies out there, like a mill deck. Any deck that allows you to draw cards. This could be really strong. If you're piling up those fairies pretty quickly, I think that could be a really good card. Sage of the Falls, 4 colorless, 1 blue, is a Merfolk Wizard. I can't actually see the art very well. It's a uncommon. Whenever Sage of the Falls or another non-human creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So that is a cycling effect. That's interesting, but again, this would be good for a mill deck if you're trying to mill yourself out. This could be a good addition to that. It's very expensive though, and it's only 2/5, so yeah, it seems alright to me, but I guess in the right deck it could be pretty good. Let's see what we got. Ooh, Lockmere Serpent. We have... I hate how the UI is, goes over the top of the card. Anyway, I like the art for this already. I like the eyes, the blue eyes under the water. And just as an aside, the Magic in art is so fantastic. It's one of the main reasons I got into the game, and it's one of the reasons I keep playing it, because I just love looking at cool art. But this costs 4 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, so this is a Dimir card. It's a Serpent, 7/7, so that's already a good start. It has Flash, which means that you can use it anytime you would use an instant, so it's a surprise blocker. For 1 blue, you can sacrifice an island. Lockmere Serpent can't be blocked this turn. 1 black, sacrifice a swamp. You gain 1 life and draw a card. 1 blue, 1 black, exile 5 target cards from an opponent's graveyard. And I think I need to scroll here. Yep. Return Lockmere Serpent from your graveyard to your hands. To your hand, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. That is an incredibly good looking card to me. It's expensive, but it does so much. There's so much utility with this card. And the fact that that last ability exiles cards from your opponent's graveyard. It's not like you're sacrificing cards in your graveyard. You're sacrificing them from another person's graveyard. So it's just win. This card's all wins. I think this is going to be strong. Probably going to see this one a lot, I would assume. Seems very good. And Flash. Yeah, this card is too much. I don't know why it even exists. Alright, we'll see. I could be wrong. Maybe it's too expensive. But alright, let's see what we got. Fierce Witch Stalker. 2 colorless, 2 green. Trample. When Fierce Witch Stalker enters the battlefield, create a food token. It's a 4/4. This seems alright to me. Trample is a good effect. It's a 4/4. It seems pretty good, actually, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not against this. And it's a wolf, and I know wolf decks are going to be pretty good, but, a wolf deck at the same time, even though wolves are fun, and, Garruk is going to be a thing, it's not like the best thing ever. It's a good tribal thing to have, but there are going to be better decks out there, I think, so we'll see. Dwarven Mine. This is a land. Dwarven Mine enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other mountains. Okay. When Dwarven Mine enters the battlefield untapped, create a 1/1 red dwarf creature token. Tap to add 1 red. That seems really good. I think that's pretty good. Obviously, again, you need devotion for that card to work. Tome Raider. 2 colorless, 1 blue. It's a fairy flying. When Tome Raider enters the battlefield, draw a card. It's a 1/1. That seems kind of expensive, but drawing card is nice. Yeah, that seems just like an okay common card to me. Fortifying Provisions. 2 colorless, 1 white. Creature you control get +0/+1 when Fortifying Provisions enters the battlefield. Create a food token. Yeah, that seems alright. Obviously, I think when you want, to get, you want to get a +1/+1 on creatures. +0/+1 is just kind of like, having more defense it can be helpful, but usually you want to be able to kill other creatures and block effectively rather than just blocking as a placeholder. So it's okay, and the food tokens will be useful. By the way, let's look at the food token with those swirly bananas. That's very odd. Lash of Thorns, 1 black. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains a death touch until end of turn. That seems pretty good. I think there's a similar card already out. I think it's the Blade Brand or something. It's pretty similar. Hypnotic Sprite. This is another adventure card. Costs 2 blue. You can play Mesmeric Glare for 2 colorless, 1 blue. So this one, the spell costs more than the creature. Instant counter target creature spell with converted mana cost 3 or less. And flying, 2/1 flying. I don't know. That could be good. It seems. Yeah, I don't know. Countering is good, but you can counter other spells. You can counter cancel. If you have cancel, that costs 3 mana. You can counter any spell you want. Counter target spell. So, having this where you have to limit it to 3 or less mana, but you do get the creature as well. I don't know. It might be okay, but I don't think that's my favorite card. Oakham Ranger. This is one of those where you can either use green or white mana, and it costs 4. It's an Elf Knight. Bring back. Create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens, and then you can tap it. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Yeah, I like that. I think this having a creature that you can tap to buff all other creatures is really strong, and it's one of those that it's a 2/2, so it's not like anyone will go out of their way to kill it. You just kind of keep it on the board for a while and have it sneak by. I mean, and creating the tokens is really strong too. So yeah, I like that. I think it's good. I think this is Vantress Gargoyle, so that's 1 colorless, 1 blue. Artifact creature, Gargoyle, and it has flying. Vantress Gargoyle can't attack unless defending player has 7 or more cards in their graveyard. Vantress Gargoyle can't block unless you have 4 or more cards in your hand. Tap. Each player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. So that's interesting. So you could play this in a blue mill deck where you want to self-mill, and then you can also mill your opponent. So that sounds pretty strong. The first kind of stipulation or limit seems hard because this is a 2 mana creature, so it's like if you get it out early, it's just there to block. But it is a 5/4, so 2 mana for 5/4 is insane. You will never get value like that anywhere else. So I think this is good. We'll see. We will see. Let's move on. We have a lot of packs, but like I said, we're going to be going through commons that we've seen pretty soon, so not yet though. So we have Garen Brigg Squire, 1 colorless, 1 green. Whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, Garen Brigg Squire gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So you get some synergy with adventures. 2/2 for 2 mana. That's okay. That's an alright card. Festive Funeral, 5 mana, 4 colorless, 1 black. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Now, I believe there's going to be a lot of graveyard play in this this set, so this could work in there. However, it's really expensive. Really expensive, so and it's too conditional, so I would say that's a bad card. Charmed Sleep, 1 colorless, 2 blue. Enchant creature. When Charmed Sleep enters the battlefield, tap it. Enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Now this is basically the Water Knot, and then there was also the last one. I don't remember. There's basically this card has been reprinted in different names for a while here. Now this is okay, however, it's not as good as Pacifism. Pacifism is way better, and the creature can still use their abilities. So this effect is okay. It's but you can get more worth with other cards, I think. Forever Young, 1 colorless, 1 black. Put any number of target creature cards from your graveyard on top of your library. Now, I think this is going to have synergy with another card which we haven't seen yet. We'll see if I actually get it. And then draw a card. So I do like that. I like that you can choose the creatures you want. So this is actually going to be really good in a specific black deck. So I like that a lot. We have a land here, Tournament Grounds. Tap it, add a colorless. Tap it, add red, white, or black. So this is going to go with Night Dex, because it's, I believe it's Sultai. I could be wrong. It might be another. Jeskai. It's Jeskai, I think. Yep, that's what it is. Okay, spend this mana only to cast a Night or Equipment spell. There you go. So, good for the Night Dex. Castle Ardenvale. I think this is a land. Yep, I think I've heard of the castles. So Castle Ardenvale enters the battlefield tapped unless you control the plains. Tap to add 1 white, 2 colors, 2 white. Tap, create a 1/1 white human creature token. So yeah, this is good. They're it's pretty expensive to create a 1/1 white human creature token, but you know, it's pretty good. Go on to the next pack. Alright. Let's start on this side. Youthful Knight, 1 colorless, 1 white, 2/1 with first strike. This is basically the Pouncing Lynx that was in, I think, the last set. Yeah, I think it was in War of the Spark. Not good. Not a good card. Not really worth it. Because it's too easily killed. Even with first strike. Knight of the Keep, 2 colors, 1 white, 3/2. Ordinary 3/2 card. You can get 3 3s for 3 mana, so this is actually pretty bad. Embereth Paladin, 3 colorless, 1 red, human knight. It has haste and adamant, so again, devotion to red. Embereth Paladin enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. It's a 4/1. That seems pretty good to me. A 4/1 is dangerous because it can be easily killed, but if you have a 5/2, that's looking a lot better for 4 mana. So yeah, I kind of like that one. Weaselback Red Cap, 1 red, 1 colorless, 1 red. Weaselback Red Cap gets +2/+0 until end of turn, so you can buff it. It's a 1/1. That's an ordinary card. Nothing amazing about it. Merfolk Secret Keeper for 1 blue mana. Venture Deeper is the spell for 1 blue. And it's a sorcery. Target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. So again, milling. There's going to be a lot of self-milling, I think, in this set, especially for blue. It's a 0/4, so yeah, I'm iffy on that one. I actually already opened a pack with this card, but it's Kenrith's Transformation, 1 colorless, 1 green. Enchant creature. When Kenrith's Transformation enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green elk creature with base power and toughness, 3/3. So this card is interesting. It's like the opposite of pacifism. Pacifism stops a creature from attacking or blocking, and this one stops a creature from using its abilities. Now let's say, the thing with this card is it has a lot of maneuverability and a lot of utility, because you could let's say you have a 1/1 out there or something, like a 1/1 human, or just a 1/1 token. You can turn into a 3/3 if you want with this card, or you can take a creature on the other side of the board and turn them into a 3/3 with, let's say they have powerful abilities. Say you get that whatever Demir Snake we saw earlier, take all the abilities away, turn it into a smaller creature. It's more easy to manage. So I think this card definitely has some use, and it also draws a card. So I like that. Cauldron Familiar, 1 black mana. This is a cat. I really wish I could do like a cat deck. I think that would be the best, but we'll see. When Cauldron Familiar enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Sacrifice a food, return Cauldron Familiar from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's interesting. I really like that, actually. And if you have, a few of these in your deck, you could do, a lot with it. Black tends to do the kind of lifesteal effects on spells a lot. So you could, you could bump this up with a lot of other cards. You could use Cruel Celebrant with this. It'd be really good. So, yeah, that's pretty good. See, Krenclag. I can't see the first letter. Trenclag or something. I can't see it. Trencrag Pyromancer, 2 colorless, 1 red. Human Wizard. Whenever you draw your second card each turn. Oh, sorry. Ironcrag Pyromancer deals 3 damage to any target. It's a 0/4. So again, it goes along with that other card that was a create a fairy like factory card. Just create a bunch of fairies. This could go along in a similar deck, and you're basically getting a lightning strike every time you draw a second card. So that's pretty good. Let's move on. Hopefully we get some repeats. So I don't have to keep. Yeah, so you already saw that one. All right, Bartered Cow. 3 colorless, 1 white. When Bartered Cow dies, or when you discard it, create a food token. So it's a 3/3. So as far as the mana cost goes, it's not great. Yeah. Festive Funeral, I say was bad. Dwarven Mine, we already went over. Garen Brigg Paladin. I don't believe. No, we didn't go over this one yet. 4 colorless, 1 green. It's a giant knight. Adamant, so devotion to green. Garen Brigg Paladin enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Garen Brigg Paladin can't be blocked by creatures with 2 power or less. Honestly, for that cost, I think that's a little iffy, but you know, you get a 5/5. 5/5 for 5 mana, I think is fine. It's pretty good. And you not being able to be blocked by creature 2 power or less is okay too. So, you know, would I use it in the deck? Probably not. Unexplained Vision, 4 colorless, 1 blue. Draw 3 cards. Adamant, if at least. So this is interesting. So there was another card. What is that blue card called? Perceptive Cognition or something like that. I don't remember. Precognitive something. I don't know. It had addendum on it, and it was you could scry, and then if you had the addendum, which is if you cast in your main phase, you get to draw 3, or is the opposite. Something like that. So it's basically the same card, except you get to scry before you draw your cards. And so this is the opposite. You draw and then you scry. And it's also 5 mana, which I think the other one was also 5. So this is, I think this is okay, actually. You know, drawing 3 cards for 5 mana is not worth it, but with the Adamant it might be. I'm iffy on it. Order of Midnight. 1 colorless, 1 black. The spell is Alter Fate. Actually, I'm going to stop saying the mana cost. You can see the mana cost, so yeah. I'm going to stop saying it. It'll save some time. Okay. The sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Alright, that's pretty simple. And then it has flying. Order of Midnight, can't block. 2/2. Alright, so there's nothing special about this card. It is a knight, and it's 2/2 flyer. So the fact that it can't block is really bad. Especially for 2/2. You're not looking to put insane amount of damage with the 2/2. You're looking to counter other flying creatures a lot of the time. So, yeah, it's iffy. Arcanist Owl. You can spend this either white or blue mana. It's a artifact creature. As flying, when Arcanist Owl enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact or enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Alright, so if you're playing a white deck that has a lot of enchantments, you can use it. If you're playing, well, white-blue is actually good for artifacts as well. So yeah, that's fine. It's a 3/3. You know, it is 4 mana, but I think that's pretty good. It definitely has some use. Fires of Invention, 3 colorless, 1 red, enchantment. You can cast spells only during your turn, and you can cast no more than 2 spells each turn. You may cast spells with converted mana costs less than or equal to the number of lands you control without paying their mana costs. Well, now we're talking. I really like this. This is great. You can just get spells out there with, you know, super quickly. And especially if you have like some land draw. I could see this in like a Gruul deck. If you had some land draw with like green, get some lands out there early, then just put your spells out. Just have like a green-red Gruul / spell deck. Yeah, it seems really broken to me in my brain right now, but you can't use instants, which is tough. Well, you can on your turn. You can only cast 2 each turn, so obviously there is some drawback. But you can, and you also want to be drawing cards because you don't want to be losing your hand. You're going to be without cards in a long time. You know what would be a really good keyword with this? Hellbent. Because Hellbent rewarded you if you had no cards in your hand. So, that would be interesting. Let's move on. We've only gone through 5 or 6 packs. Alright, so we have Weasel, Back, Redcap. We already looked at that one. Silver Flame Squire. 1 colorless, 1 white. On alert. It's an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Untap it. Alright, I like that. And the 2/1. I like the spell. The creature's not so much. Insatiable Appetite. You may sacrifice a food. If you do, target creature gets +5/+5 until end of turn. Otherwise, that creature gets +3/+3. Alright, so yeah, that's really good. For 2 mana, you get a +5/+5. That's pretty good right there. So Tiny. Flash, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets -2/-0. It gets -6/-0 instead, as long as its controller has 7 or more cards in their graveyard. Alright. I don't think this is very good, actually, because the -2/-0 is pretty insignificant, and then, the -6 is good, but it's really conditional. Yeah, I wouldn't use that. I think it's kind of a waste of a card in a deck, to be honest. I'd rather just remove a creature than take away its power. Rose Thorn Acolyte. Spell is Seasonal Ritual. Add 1 mana of any color. You can tap it to add 1 mana. So basically the way you would use this is just so you can turn 1, get mana out there, an extra mana with the spell, and then get the creature out a couple turns after. So I think this actually has worth, because you basically are getting 2 cards in one. You get a turn 1 and a turn 3. I like that. Cauldron Gift. 4 colorless, 1 black. It's a sorcery. Adamant. If at least 3 black mana, so we already know this. Put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. You may choose a creature card in your graveyard. If you do, return it to the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So that seems pretty good. It's expensive though. You can get creatures onto the battlefield for a lot less. Yeah. I feel like I'm iffy on a lot of cards. I'm kind of not feeling great about a lot of cards that I'm seeing. But yeah, I don't know if I would put this in the deck. Beanstalk Giant. This is an expensive creature. The spell is Fertile Footsteps. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle it. So that's a pretty common green effect. And then Beanstalk Giants' power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. So honestly, I don't like this card. And here's why. It's way too expensive. Super expensive. You can get cards that do similar effects with the +1, or the power and toughness equals the number of lands you control. Now it might be a really good late game card, but I'm not in love with it. I don't know. You can get a really big creature out there if you have enough lands. Yeah, it's just really late game. It's a real late game play. And we get a mythic, which is great. Wild card. Wild cards are the best. Lets you choose whatever you want. Alright. Fortifying Provisions. Creature control, get +0/+1. Already read that one. Opt. Here we go. New art for Opt. Opt is a very common blue card. It's been reprinted many, many times. Scry 1, draw a card. Solid play 1. Turn 1 play. The art. Now, the old art that I had for Opt, I did not like. It was like a white statue holding an orb. Don't like that art. This art is kind of cool. Yeah, I like it. Return to Nature. I like the art a lot on this one because it's very, autumn-like and reminds me of Halloween. Choose one. Destroy a target artifact, destroy target enchantment, exile target card from graveyard. So this is a sideboard card. Corridor Monitor. I like that. It's like a walking lantern. When Corridor Monitor enters the battlefield, untap target artifact or creature you control. Yeah. I'm in love with it. Mad Ratter. When you draw your second card each turn, create 2 1/1 black rat creature tokens. I think rats might be a thing. We'll see if there's enough cards to make it a thing. But again, it goes with that red deck, or the red blue deck, where you are drawing more cards each turn. Ferocity of the Wilds. Attacking non-human creatures you control. Get +1/+0 and have trample. Okay. So you would want to use this in a deck that doesn't have humans. It's pretty simple. Gadwick the Wizened. You can pay X colorless and 3 blue. When Gadwick the Wizened enters the battlefield, draw X cards. Whenever you cast a blue spell, tap target non-land permanent an opponent controls. So there's a lot of control with this card. It's a 3/3. Get to draw a lot of cards. Again, with the whole milling thing, just getting cards out of your library and into the graveyard as quickly as possible. It's very expensive, especially if you want to draw more than one card. You're going to be paying a lot. You're going to be waiting. But the control is really great. I would actually lean towards paying 1 to 2 mana for the X, just drawing a couple cards, and then getting this creature out as early as you can, so that you can start having a lot of control with this card. Alright. I believe, yep, we've seen that one. Crashing Drawbridge. Defender. It's a wall. Don't love walls. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn if you tap it. Yeah, that's good. That's a solid play. I like it because any card that has to pay for haste, or if you're tapping for one creature getting haste, it's but for all creatures to get haste is pretty good. So you can good aggro kind of effect. Searing Barrage deals 5 damage to target creature. So this is there's been a lot of red cards that are similar, same cost, same damage. But if you have the Devotion, it deals 3 damage to that creature controller. So you're doing 8 total damage for 5 mana. That's not bad. Not bad at all. We already saw that one, I believe. Oh wait, no, I saw that earlier. Oh no, I did see that one. Never mind. Spore Cap Spider. I don't. That art kind of creeps me out. It's a 1/5 with reach. Yeah, it's cheap, but no. Again, you don't want walls. You don't want creatures with high defense. You want some power out there. You don't want to just be blocking all the time. Embereth Shieldbreaker. Destroy target artifact. That's a 2/1. So, it's sideboard card again. You use it if you need it. Another Castle. Castle Embereth. Castle Embereth enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain. Tap it for 1. You also pay 3 and tap. Creature you control get +1/+0. So similar to the other castle. In fact, it might be a little weaker than the other one. The other one to create a 1/1 creature token. So yeah, it definitely has some use in a red deck. I'm seeing a lot of cards that are helping mono decks, which is good. Shining Armor says Flash. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target knight you control. Creature gets +0/+2 and has Vigilance. Equip 3. So I believe when you attach it, you are basically equipping it, but I'm not sure. Yeah. I think you can attach it and it's automatically equipped, and then you can also equip it on someone else if you want to. I'm actually a little confused though. Okay, so it does. It automatically gets equipped. So this could be good in a night deck, as an equipment. I believe there's going to be some more equipment as well that we haven't seen yet. Curious Pair. Trees to Share is the spell. Create a food token. 1/3. I kind of really like this actually. The food tokens are good. It's simple. You know, it has a purpose. I kind of really like that. And you know, 1/3 for 2 is not bad. I mean, it's simple, but I think it's a good card. Wishful Merfolk, Defender. You can pay 2 to lose Defender and becomes a human until end of turn. Okay, so if you need in a deck where you need humans, I guess you can use it. I don't think that's a great card though. Reaper of Night. You can pay 4 for the spell. Harvest Fear. Target opponent discards 2 cards. It's pretty good. Whenever Reaper of Night attacks, if defending player has 2 or fewer cards in hand, it gains flying until end of turn. Alright. It's very expensive, so I'm going to say it's not good, but you know, I wish the effects were on a cheaper card. Foulmire Knight, costs 1 black. Profane Insight, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Automatically, already love it. 1/1 Death Touch, great card. I love that. I think that's going to be a strong card in Night decks. Being able to draw a card with a creature that also has 1/1 Death Touch, I think is good. Yeah. Yep. Beanstalk Giant we already talked about. I was actually just thinking, just to make sure I was right, because it is a little expensive to draw a card for this. So, yeah. I might pull back my excitement a little bit, because you can draw cards for much less mana. But having the one with Death Touch is pretty good too, and it's a Knight, so yeah, I still like it. Ember Cleave, very expensive. It's a legendary artifact. Has Flash. This spell costs 1 less. Oh, so this is the red version of those other cards I was mentioning. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. Interesting. When Ember Cleave enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has double strike and trample. Equip 3. All right. It's good. Yeah, it's good. I like it. Double strike is an insane keyword. Trample is also an incredible keyword. This is good. Yeah. Alright. Let's start on this side. Prophet of the Peak. I really like that art. It's like a lion with antlers. When Prophet of the Peak enters the battlefield, scry 2. 6 mana for a 5/5 that scries 2? No. Not in love with it. Rosethorn Acolyte. We already saw that one. Lonesome Unicorn. Created 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance, and it has vigilance since 3/3. It's okay, it's very expensive. Again, these cards are super expensive. A lot of them are. Moonlit Scavengers. When Moonlit Scavengers enters the battlefield, if you control an artifact or enchantment, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Yeah, again, too expensive. 4/4/5. Yeah. Roving Keep. It's a defender, it's a wall. Pay 7, Roving Keep gets +2/+0 until and gains trample until end of turn. It can attack as though it didn't have defender. If you're putting in 14 total mana for a 7/7 with trample, like, you know, it's fine, but I wouldn't go out of my way to put that card in the deck. Heraldic Banner. It's artifact. As Heraldic Banner enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+0. Add 1 mana of the chosen color. So if you have a devotion deck, and you know there's a lot of other devotion cards in this set so far, it seems like they're really trying to make a lot of the mono decks really strong, because in the past, especially, you know, when I play Arena, usually mono decks just aren't quite there. Besides mono red, mono white has been okay. Mono green is usually fine. Mono black has been iffy. Mono blue, honestly, mono blue can be improved so much by other colors. Blue is one of those that it just goes so well with other colors that it's better to have it with other colors, unless you want to do flying. But then if you have a blue flyer deck, you might as well just have white with it, because it just helps so much to have that. So, but I like this card. It also goes well with the knights as well. So, you know, if you have a mono knight deck. Yep. Into the Story. Very expensive card. It's an instant. This spell costs 3 less to cast if an opponent has 7 or more cards in their graveyard. Draw 4 cards. So, you're looking to spend 4 mana on this in the right scenario for 4 cards. That is pretty good. Fires of Invention. I think we already saw this. Yep, we did. All right. So far, I'm enjoying a lot of cards, but there's a lot of cards that I'm not enjoying too much. But we'll keep going. Okay, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, then it fights target creature. I love the fight mechanic. I think fight is so good. Yeah, I just love being able to fight. It's, you know, it's really one of the only removal keywords that green has, besides like Death Touch. Yeah, it's just really good removal. And Adamant, so if you have Devotion to Green, the creature you control gets indestructible until end of turn. Yeah, so the only thing with this card is it is a little expensive for a sorcery, but I like it. We already saw that card. Baked into a Pie. Destroy target creature. Create a food token. Alright. Pretty expensive for destroying target creature. Yeah. You know, I guess if creating a food token for 1 extra mana is fine, because if you have like a murder card that's 3 mana, so you're basically adding 1 mana for the food token. Honestly, this card just has like the best flavor, you know. It's great. Mysterious Pathlighter. Flying. Each creature you control that has an adventure enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Alright, that's good. I enjoy that for if you're using, you know, adventure as your kind of way to build the deck. Spinning Wheel. Tap for to add 1 mana of any color. 3 tap to tap target creature. That's pretty good. Yeah, I would definitely use that. Good control. Blacklands Paragon. I think I've already seen this card and I like it. Has Flash. When it enters the battlefield, target knight gains Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. It's a 3/1, you know, so if you're using it to block, it's going to die right away. But being able to give another knight Death Touch and Lifelink just makes all the difference. I really think this is going to be very good with, you know, it's going to have a lot of synergy in those knight decks. So, yeah. I like it. Already saw that one. Saw that one. I think I saw that one. Yep. Barrow Witches. When Barrow Witches enters the battlefield, return target knight card from your graveyard to your hand. It's a 3/4. Very expensive. Eh. Not super great. Wicked Guardian. That is a big headpiece. When Wicked Guardian enters the battlefield, you may have it deal 2 damage to another creature you control. If you do, draw a card. Yeah. 4 mana for 4/2 that does all that? That's really good. That's a good card. Yeah. That's worth, in my opinion. Shine Chaser. Fairy. Flying Vigilance. Shine Chaser gets +1/+1 as long as you control an artifact. It also gets +1/+1 as long as you control an enchantment. So I'm noticing a theme here with the artifacts and enchantments. So they're trying to push the kind of Azorius decks into that, you know, artifact enchantment. And I do have some white-blue artifact decks with the Steel Overseer. So yeah, it's a 1/1, but you can buff it to a 3/3 for 3 mana. Flying Vigilance, yeah, that's good. That is a good card, and it's fairy. Seems like fairies are kind of going to be another tribal thing that maybe comes out of this. Shambling Suit. It's a construct. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments you control. There you go. So those cards are going to go in the same deck. Yeah, that's good. I think that's very good. It's, you know, unlimited how you know, how much you can do with that. If you have an artifact that can, so you know, what's the planeswalker that creates servos? Saheeli. You know, you have this with a Saheeli or anything else that can just kind of pump out artifacts, and that's good. Embercleave. We already saw that. Next pack. Mist-furred River Turtle. When it attacks, another target attacking non-human creature can't be blocked this turn. It's a 1/5. Now this, you know, may be a 1/5, but it does have some worth, and it's not bad. So I think that actually that card could have some worth, for sure. We saw that one. Yep, saw that one. Cauldron's Gift. We might have already seen this one as well. I think we did. Great Hand. This is probably my favorite card that I've seen so far. I saw this one before the set came out, and I think this is it's going to be my favorite card in the set. I'm almost positive. If I don't get, well, I'm definitely not going to get 4 of these with the packs I have left. But this is another one of those legendary artifacts that costs less mana for if you have something. So the spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Tap it, add 2 mana. So you're getting, let's say you have a creature that's a 4/4. That's when you want to, probably when you want to cast this. So now it costs 5 mana, and you're also gaining 2 mana back afterwards. So you're talking 3 mana for this card. It's a 3 mana, you know, net, you could say. You're netting 3 mana for the cost of this card. And then whenever a non-token creature enters battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and draw a card. Extremely strong. Every creature is going to come in with a counter, and then you can proliferate if you want to. If you get some Johnnies with this card, you know, and you get to draw a card. Like, this card is so insane. I can't wait to use it. Alright, Wildwood Tracker. Did we already see this one? I don't think we did. Whenever Wildwood Tracker attacks or blocks, if you control another non-human creature, it gains +1/+1 until end of turn. That's fine. You know, get a 2/2. That's fine. 7 Dwarves. We already. Oh wait, no. Did I read this? I didn't. 7 Dwarves gets +1/+1 for each other creature named 7 Dwarves. So it's basically just Charm Stray, except a deck can have up to 7 cards named this. So it's Charm Stray, except it's better. It's also 2/2, where I think a Charm Stray is a 1/1, I believe. I might be wrong. So yeah, I think this card is great. Tournament Grounds, Fireborn Knight. Really like the art on that one. That is cool. It's red or white. Has double strike. It gets +1/+1 to end turn if you pay 4 mana for it. It's 2/3. Honestly, double strike is just an insane mechanic. You know, it's first strike, and you get to deal extra damage after the first strike. Really good. Fervent Champion. Cool, we got a 1 mana rare. I love 1 mana rares because 1 mana cards are my favorite. I love playing something turn 1. First strike and haste. Good start. When Fervent Champion attacks, another target attacking knight you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Equip abilities you activate the target Fervent Champion costs 3 less to activate. So this could definitely have a lot of great synergy. Probably really good. This is a really good turn 1 card. I think a 1/1 with first strike is just super strong for 1 mana. Plus the haste. Yeah. I'm going to be using this card. Redcap Riders. When it attacks, you may tap an untapped non-human creature you control. If you do, it gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. We may have already read that one. We saw that one. Saw that one. I don't think I read this one, but I did see it earlier. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token, and it has trample. It's a 4/4. Yeah, we did go over this one. Burning Yard Trainer. Trample and haste, 5 mana. When it enters the battlefield, another target knight you control gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Trample and haste until end of turn. That's a lot of worth for that. It's 3/3. Very expensive, but I think it's worth it for what it gives you. Yeah. These cards are expensive, man. They are expensive. Glass Casted. That art is super awesome. Let me take a look. That's like beautiful. Very, fairy tale-esque. When Glass Casket enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or less until Glass Casket leaves the battlefield. Alright. So this is a card that is basically like white removal. Like Prison Realm, those other cards. So yeah, I think there's another card that basically is the same thing with the 3 or less mana. But it's cheap for what it does, so it's good. All right, we got a rare adventure card. It's a Zombie Knight, Murderous Rider. Swift End is the spell. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. You lose 2 life. It has lifelink. When Murderous Rider dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. That's good. That's cool. 2/3 with lifelink is good. Doesn't ever go in the graveyard, which actually might hurt you a little bit. Because if it's on the bottom of the library, you probably won't ever get it back. But if it's in your graveyard, you might be able to get it back. So that actually, you have to think about that. But being able to destroy a target creature or planeswalker for 3, it's basically you have Vraska's Contempt here, except you lose 2 life. So yeah, it's good. It definitely will be used probably. Okay. All right. We saw that one. Barge In. Target attacking creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Each attacking non-human creature gains trample until end of turn. All right, so that's a lot of worth. Yeah, that's a lot of worth. That's good. The Thrill of Possibility. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards. Alright. Yeah, that's pretty good. Sorry, I just had to think about it for a second. Silver Flame Ritual. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Adamant. If at least 3 white mana was spent to cast this spell, creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. Alright, so that's good. Counters are always good. Yeah. I think that's actually really good for a common. Seer Eleonora the Discerning. Seer Eleonora the Discerning's power is equal to the number of cards in your hand. Alright, so this goes with the cards that allow you to have no maximum hand size. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Spells your opponents cast that target Seer Eleonora costs 2 more to cast. Wow, yeah. That's going to be really strong. I think that's going to be really good in those decks where you have a lot of cards in your hand and you can mill and yeah. Sorcerer's Broom. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you may pay 3. If you do, create a token that's a copy of Sorcerer's Broom. Interesting. So you're paying 3 mana for a 2/1. But it's unlimited. Yeah, I could see that. Multiplying it. That's pretty good. Dance of the Manse. Return up to X target artifact and/or non-aura enchantment cards, each with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If X is 6 or more, those permanents are 4/4 creatures in addition to their other types. Wow, okay, that's a lot. There's a lot going on there. It's also pretty cheap for that. You don't have to pay 2 extra mana beyond the X, but they have to be non-aura enchantment cards, which is very specific. So yeah, if you have a lot of mana, this card is going to be great. You probably want to save it. You want to get that extra effect for the 4/4 creature. So yeah, if you can get this card late, it's going to be really good. Lochthwain Gargoyle gets +2/+0 and gains flying until end of turn for 4. So 1 mana, 0/3. Yeah, you could probably use that. Do that. Garenberg Carver. I think we went over that. It's pretty simple. I think from now on, for the rest of the video, we're just going to look over the commons. I'm not going to read them. I'll just let you look at them. And I'll read them to myself. Okay. Already read that one. Already saw that one. Ayara, First of the Lochthwain. Whenever Ayara, First of the Lochthwain, or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Sacrifice another black creature, draw a card. So this is definitely in a devotion deck. Again, we're going with the mono deck theme here. Drawing card 2/3. It's 3 mana. Yeah, that's very strong. Very good. Okay. Saw it. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, Bloodhaze Wolverine gets +1/+1 and gains first strike until end of turn. Right. Rally for the Throne. Create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens for 3 mana. Adamant, if at least 3 white mana was spent to cast this, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. That's good. So this is basically Raise the Alarm, but with extra. So definitely worth. Giant Opportunity. You may sacrifice 2 foods. If you do, create a 7/7 green giant creature token. Otherwise, create 3 food tokens. Super cool. Lots of flavor with the fairy tale. 7/7. I'm all about this card. Honestly, I love this. I think it's fantastic. I love that card. Feasting Troll King. Super expensive with 4 green, 2, so it's 6. Vigilance, Trample. When Feasting Troll King enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, create 3 food tokens. Alright. Sacrifice 3, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only during your turn. 7/6. That's a very good card. It's super expensive, but if you get late game, you can just keep throwing it out there. And you can use the food tokens for other things, so a lot of utility with it. That's a good card. Honestly, that was probably the best pack I've seen so far. Alright. Did we see this one? No. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other planes. When it enters the battlefield untapped, put a +1/+1 counter on. Oh, so it's the same as the other cards that I saw. Basically. Memory Theft. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You may put a card that has an adventure that player owns from exile into that player's graveyard. Okay. So you get double there, but it's expensive. It's basically, black. It's like a Thoughtseize kind of thing, but with an extra, thing for adventures. I think it's a little expensive for what it does, but that's fine. Seer Aline, the Lion's Claw. Man, these names are pretty intense in this set. It has first strike. It's a 4/4. When it attacks other creatures you control, get +1/+1 until end of turn. Very good. You know, the kind of white buffing effects, it's very common to get, you know, +1/+1 on creatures. That's going to be probably a pretty important card. Righteousness. Target blocking creature gets +7/+7 until end of turn. It's an instant. So that's very cheap, very good. Probably something you're going to want in white decks. And we get a rare wild card. Cool. Let's keep going. Pushing through. Golden Egg. We haven't seen a Gilded Goose yet, which is going to be like my favorite card. But we got the Golden Egg. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Pay 1, tap, add 1 mana of any color. Pay 2 and tap, you gain 3 life. So lots of utility, you can use it for many different things. Draw a card. So basically, foods can do 3 things, I think. Draw a card, add a mana, gain life. And you can do all that with this card. So I really like this, actually. We saw that one. Yep, we saw that one. Covetous Urge. I like that art. 4 mana. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from that player's graveyard or hand and exile it. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. And you may spend mana as though it were mana. Okay, so you're basically getting Thief of Sanity / Hostage Taker plus a Thoughtseize with this card. So I think that's pretty good. 4 mana, that's definitely worth it. Return of the Wild Speaker. Choose one. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. Non-human creatures you control get +3/+3 until end of turn. All right. Yeah. For some reason, the non-creature, the non-human thing is a big deal, but it's weird because knights are mostly humans. A lot of them are humans, so it's interesting how there's like, you know, two separate things going on there. Next deck is Raging Redcap, 1/2 with Double Strike. I don't hate that. Although I prefer to have more power on a Double Strike / First Strike than defense, because that's the whole point of First Strike, is that your defense doesn't really matter. So, Hengewalker. If you have Devotion of the same color, it enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counter on it. So it's a 3/3 for 3. There's nothing special about that. It's actually a little bit weaker than a lot of other cards, so there's no real reason to play that, in my opinion. We saw that one already. See, we're going through packs a little bit quicker now. Creatures of the creature type of your choice get -3/-3 till end of turn. Alright, well, that's a sideboard card. So, but it's good. It's a good card. Yeah, sideboard. Trapped in the Tower. Enchanted creature without flying. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. Its activated abilities can't be... Alright, so anti-flying. It's basically... Yeah, you're just completely shutting down a creature with that. Also a sideboard card. I think we already saw that one. Yep. Run away together. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by different players. Return those creatures to their owner's hands. Okay. Again, this would be way better if you were able to play multiple opponents, but that's fine. Savvy Hunter, I don't think I went over this, but I got it in one of the first 2 packs I had. This is going to be a fantastic card. It's 3 mana for 3/3, already good. Whenever it attacks or blocks, create a food token, sacrifice 2 and draw a card. This is going to be just a cornerstone card, especially in the Garrett deck. I love that card. Realm Cloaked Giant. Cast off, very expensive spell. Destroy all non-giant creatures. That's why it's expensive. And it has Vigilance, and it's a 7/7. Yeah, that's going to be a good card. It's also a mythic for a giant deck. Interesting. Okay. I think I already saw that one. Haven't seen that one. Deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That creature or planeswalker would die, exile it instead. Alright, so it's Lightning Strike, except Lightning Strike could also target players, and then it exiles. So that's pretty worth to me. That's a good card. Opt, we already saw. Grumgully the Generous. Look at this card. Look at that guy. He's a happy little, whatever, goblin. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Okay. So, you're just buffing creatures. It's a 3/3. Yeah, it's a good card. A lot of the cards in this set seem pretty simple, honestly. Slaying Fire, I think, again, this was in one of my first 2 packs. So, this is going to basically replace Lightning Strike. Because Lightning Strike, I think, like I said, I might have already said already, is out of rotation. It's possible I did already talk about this card. I don't really remember. But if you have Devotion, it deals 4 damage instead of 3. So it's a little bit better. But if you're paying the 3 mana and it's not all red, then the card isn't worth. So you might as well just put this in a mono red deck. Castle Garenbrig. Enters the battlefield. Tapped unless you control the forest. Add green for tapping. And the second effect is add 6 green mana. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures. Okay, so in a creature heavy deck, that's green anyways. There's nothing, there's no real downside to that because green is creatures. Alright. We have not seen the Gingerbread Cabin. These cards are so awesome. Okay, it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other forests. Man, they're really using that mechanic a lot. Enters the battlefield untapped, create a food token. You tap for 1 green. Cool. Yeah. I like that. Definitely going to use it. Joust. Choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. The creature you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn if it's a knight. Then those creatures fight each other. Again, fight I think is just a fantastic mechanic because you get to choose who you want to fight against. So it's automatic removal. It's great. Bog Naughty. And it's removal on a creature. So it's not like you're spending mana on a card that only has removal. You're using removal and you're also gaining a creature. It's great. Flying. Pay 3, sacrifice a food. Target creature gets -3 until end of turn. I like that. It seems expensive, but for that effect, I think it's definitely worth it. Good removal, yeah. Yep. Do we already see this? Yep, we did. It's the sideboard card. Alright. Witching Well. When Witching Well enters the battlefield, scry 2. Sacrifice Witching Well, draw 2 cards. That's great. That's a great card. Simple, to the point, good turn 1 play. Yeah, I really like that card. We already did that card once, and future. It's a weird wording of a card. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Put up to 1 other target card from your graveyard on top of your library. Exile once in future. Okay, I just had to read that again. If you have Devotion with 3 green, instead return those cards to your hand and exile one once in future. Okay. So it just ignores the second one, basically, if you have the Adamant. Yeah. Okay. So you get 2 cards from your graveyard to your hand. Got it. We've already seen that one. Thank you to everyone who has stuck with me. We are at 1 hour and 20 minutes. I know it's long, but it's worth it. We're going through some magic cards. Alright, Moonlit Scavengers. We might have already seen that card. I think we did. Smitten Swordmaster. The spell is Curry Favor. You gain X life and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights you control. That's really good. That's really good. Lifelink 2/1. Yeah, that's really good. Where's the cow? Vantress Paladin. Is that a flying cat? No, it's a bird. It looks like a cat, kinda. Has flying, 2/2 for 4. If at least 3 blue mana was spent, it gains. So it's a 3/3 for 4. Yeah, that's. I guess that's fine. 3/3 flying for 4 is pretty standard. Bognati already saw. Yeah, we saw that one. Next pack. I might not have gone over this card. Lost Legion. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. It's a 2/3. It's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Queen of Ice. Rage of Winter is the spell. Tap a target creature. It does not untap, so okay, so you get the Water Knot effect for less mana, for 2 mana. And whenever Queen of Ice deals combat damage to a creature, tap that creature. It doesn't untap during the next. Oh, it's next, so it's not. Tapping it forever. It only does it for the next one, so still very good though. Really good. Yeah. 2/3. That's gonna be a fantastic card actually. Yeah. Tall as a beanstalk. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3, has reach, and is a giant in addition to its other types. Okay. The only thing about that is if you're building a giant deck, you don't want to put another card and hope that you get this card. Unless it really helps your deck. Yeah. And also, there's been some giants, but not like a bunch of giants. Lock Dragon. I like that one. I like that art. Flying, whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Okay, so it's cycling. It's a 3/2. 4 mana. Yeah. That's helpful. We already went over that one. Piper of the Swarm. I may have already gone through this, or I may not have, but I like this card. Rats you control have Menace. Pay 2, tap for a black rat, and then you can pay 4, tap to sacrifice 3 rats and gain control of target creature. It's a 1/3. I think this is. I really want to have a rat deck, and I'll put 4 of these in there if I do. I love cool tribal decks. Signpost Scarecrow has vigilance. You can pay 2 to add 1 mana of any color. Yeah, I think that's alright. Beloved Princess. Lifelink. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. I think we already went over that. Didn't say please. Some of these cards are very oddly titled. Counter target spell. Its controller puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. Alright, so you're milling. It's cancel with some mill. Sounds pretty good to me. Wolf's Quarry. Create 3 1/1 green boar creature tokens. With when this creature dies, create a food token. I love this card, but it's really expensive. Super expensive. 6 mana for that? Nah. I like the card, but it's too expensive, in my opinion. Even though you have green ramp and everything, like, it's still. Claim the Firstborn. Gain control of target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Alright. Alright. You get it for end of turn. So it's basically whatever. What was that card? It's like Treachery or something. Treasonous Act. Basically, but it's cheaper. Yeah. That's gonna be good. Clackbridge Troll. Look at that troll. He got his head bashed in. Also, weirdly, that goat token is awesome. Like, I don't know why, it just looks super cool. Alright, this is an 8/8 trample and haste. First of all, an 8/8 for 5 mana is fantastic, and it has trample and haste, which is also fantastic. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 3/0/1 white goat creature tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If a player does, tap Clackbridge. Oh, you gain 3 life, you draw a card. Aww. Oh, poor troll. I don't that reading that card was so enjoyable though. It's so cool. So for 3 turns, you can't do anything, but you do gain 3 life and draw a card. Unless you can remove them, you know. That's an interesting card. I really like it. I want to use it, but it's a little troll. And no pun intended. Because it's literally a troll, and it's also pretty troll. That's awesome, though. That might be my second favorite card so far. Okay. Malevolent Noble. We're getting there. We're going to make it within 2 hours. 2 mana, sacrifice an artifact or another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Malevolent Noble. Nah. Unless you have creatures to spare, this is too much work. We've seen all the others. Revenge of Ravens. This is like some, I guarantee this is like an homage to The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Interesting. Yeah, so there's going to be a big theme with black now with the lifelink spells, so that's good. There are a lot of cards like this already. Like, what's that card? Ill-Gotten Inheritance, and Cruel Celebrant. You can just get players, you can just whittle them down super fast with that. Okay, saw that one. Giant Skewer, I don't think I went over. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a creature. Create a food token. Equip 3. Alright. The only thing about this is no one's going to want to block this creature, so you might as well put it on a creature that's worth. Yeah, you want to put something creature that you don't want to be blocked, basically. Okay. Drown in the Loch. It's pretty scary art. Choose one. Counter target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Alright, so a lot of utility. You can either counter spell or destroy a creature. That's good. And it's one of those where, a lot of spells, like, let's say, what is Negate? That's a card that doesn't get played a lot because it's kind of a sideboard card. You have to make sure you use it against the right deck. But this card you can put in any deck and just counter stuff. It is conditional, but still pretty good. Animating Fairy. Another really cool art on that one. Yeah. Bring to Life is a spell for 3 mana. Target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 0/0 artifact creature. Put 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Interesting. The reason that's good is because then you can proliferate. In my opinion, I think that's why it's good. And it's also flying too. Yeah, no, I'm a fan of that card. Ooh, the Royal Scions. I think I've heard of this card. I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the best cards in the entire set. It is a mythic rare, and it's 2 people. You can't even see their full names. Will something. Alright. It's a Planeswalker, and the +1 is draw a card and then discard a card. So cycle. You can also do +1. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. Okay. -8. Draw 4 cards. When you do, the Royal Scions deals damage to any target equal to the number of cards in your hand. Well, now we're talking. So, if you use this in... I think this is going to also make Jace super relevant, which is nice. And, the -8 is expensive, but it already has 5 loyalty when it comes out, and it's only 3 mana for 5 loyalty. Like, that's fantastic. The cycling is good. The +2 to a creature, first strike and trample is really good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good card, like, obviously. So First Planeswalker. This is not a Planeswalker heavy set if you didn't notice. Steel Gaze Griffin. As flying, whenever you draw your second card each turn, Steel Gaze Griffin gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It's 2/4. It's expensive. Fairy Guide Mother. Gift of the Fae. Yeah. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. And it's a 1/1 with flying. Alright. That's fine, I guess. Rousson Halberd. Enters the battlefield, attach it to target non-human creature you control. Equip creature gets +2/+1 and costs 5 to equip. Yeah, wow. Interesting. So, you basically want to put it on a creature that will never die, because 5 is very expensive. This is Fairy Vandal. It has flash and flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Fairy Vandal. It's a 1/2. Alright, flash is good. The ability is fine. It's a fine card. We're gonna sell that one. And we sell the castle. Blow your house down. Up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn. Destroy any of them that are walls. Interesting. I mean, walls are not my thing, and maybe people will play walls, but I seriously doubt it, so it's still a good card. Merchant of the Veil. Haggle is the spell. You may discard a card if you do draw a card. Alright, so we get to cycle, and the creature does the same thing, and it's a 2/3. So, good turn 1 and turn 3 card. 2 cards in 1. Not too bad. Alright. Sorry, so that one. Mirror Maid. You may have Mirror Maid enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. Alright. That's cool. I mean, there are a lot of cards out there that allow you to make copies of creatures. So I think this might be and I mean, obviously spells you can copy, but this is the first I've seen of an artifact or enchantment, so that's interesting. I like that. Forever Young, I think we already saw. Yep. Yep. Alright. Next pack. So that one. Belle of the Brawl. These cards are super cheesy. Menace. So Menace means that it can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Whenever Belle of the Brawl attacks, other knights you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. This is going to be a very good tribal card. You're probably going to 100% want it in your deck. Ginger Brute. Look at this ridiculous art. It's outrageous. You think when Magic was first created, the creators had any idea this disaster of a piece of art would exist? Do you think they ever had Ginger Brute on the radar when they were first creating this game? Alright, it's a 1/1 with haste. Pay 1 mana. Ginger Brute can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. Okay. Pay 2 and tap, sacrifice it, you gain 3 life. Alright, so a lot of utility, can't be blocked. That's fine. It's good. It's only 1 mana, so yeah, you can definitely use that. Okay. Elite Headhunter. Has Menace. Menace is a really strong keyword. Pay 3 mana, sacrifice another creature or an artifact. Elite Headhunter deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. 2/3. Yeah, that's good. If you have the creatures to sacrifice, it's good. If you have a lot of, again, there's going to be a lot of like pumping out tokens and stuff in this set. So, Oathsworn Knight. That armor is awesome. I'm not sure what's going on in the background though. I think it's a cave. Oathsworn Knight enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Oathsworn Knight attacks each combat if able. If damage will be dealt to Oathsworn Knight while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove. Remove a +1/+1 counter on it from it. So this is basically what's that? Ugin's Conjurant, but you get 4 guaranteed for 3 mana. So it's cheaper than Ugin's, because in order to get 4 +1/+1 counters on Ugin's, you would have had to play 4 mana for that. And I mean, the downside is it has to attack each combat, so you know you're gonna lose this creature pretty quickly. But it's good like aggro card, you know, forcing blocking or forcing damage. So yeah, I like it. Okay. Tempting Witch. When Tempting Witch enters the battlefield, create a food token. Pay 2 and tap, sacrifice a food, target player loses 3 life. I mean, that's... if you were to see this card and not read the flavor text, that's probably exactly what you would expect the card to do. Like, that's... yeah. 1/3. Okay. Jousting Dummy, pay 3, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn, it's a 2/1. That's not great. Resolute Rider, 4 mana. This is like the first Orzhov card I think I've even seen. Pay 2, Resolute Rider gains lifelink until end of turn. Pay 3, Resolute Rider gains indestructible until end of turn. Alright, so a lot of utility. It's a 4/2. Yeah, no, it's good. Another Gargoyle. Did I already go over this? I believe I did. I had it in the first deck, so if I didn't go over it, I apologize. I can't remember if I've already talked about it. Ardenvale Tactician. Dizzying Swoop. Tap up to 2 target creatures. As flying, it's 2/3. I think that's one of the better common adventure cards I've seen. Overall, the adventure cards aren't thrilling me too much. The spells are kind of boring, to be honest with you. Weapon Rack. Weapon Rack enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Tap it to move a +1 counter from Weapon Rack onto target creature. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. Okay, that's actually kind of expensive for what it does. You can put +1 counters, you know, when you need them, but I probably wouldn't use that. All that glitters. Enchant creature, and it gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. That is definitely good for those artifact enchantment decks. Red Cap Melee deals 4 damage to target creature with Planeswalker. Wow. If non-red permanent is dealt damage this way, you sacrifice a land. Okay. So there's a drawback. It's super cheap, 4 damage. But definitely worth. And red doesn't need land as much, so good card. Acclaimed Contender. When Acclaimed Contender enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a knight, aura, equipment, or legendary artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Alright, so this is like a fetch card. There's been a lot of these recently, except it's very specific towards knights, auras, and equipment. And it's pretty cheap for what it is. Yeah. Outflank. Deals damage to target attacking or blocking creature equal to the number of creatures you control. Alright. Yeah, that's pretty good. That one. Saw that one. We've seen that one. And that one. We've seen all of them. Thank you once again to everyone who has stuck through the video. Hope you're enjoying it so far. I am kind of going quickly, but it's because I don't want to keep you guys too long, as I've mentioned many times in the video already. Fortifying Provisions. I think I already saw that one. Yes, I did. Merrileaf Pixie. first Simic card I've seen, I believe. Flying, tap to add 1 green, 1 blue, 2/2. This is an amazing card. Incredibly good card. Don't judge this by its simplicity and think that it's okay. This card is so good. First of all, 2 mana for a flying 2/2 is great. And then also being able to add a green or a blue by tapping it, this is such a good turn 2 card. Yeah. I will probably put this in every Simic deck, if I can. Overwhelmed Apprentice. When Overwhelmed Apprentice enters the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Then you scry 2. So, again, another milling card. It's a 1/2. Stormfist Crusader has Menace. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card and loses 1 life. Interesting. That could create a pretty crazy game. Yeah. You're basically ramping everyone super quick and turning every deck into an aggro deck. Alright. Sorceress Spyglass. Well, let's look at the other ones first. We already got... Yep, we got all those. Archon of Absolution. Flying, protection from white. Creatures can attack you on you or a planeswalker you control, unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. Alright. I think there's a card, the Kinjali, the dinosaur. I think it's similar. It's not the same effect, but it's kind of similar. Alright, Sorcerer's Spyglass. As it enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Activated abilities or sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Okay. Yeah. So you're hoping they have the same cards. Could be a sideboard card. Yeah. Let's move on. Alright, nothing new there. Trail of Crumbs. It's enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you may pay 1. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Alright, that's interesting. Yeah. Adds even more utility to food tokens. Order of Midnight. Alter Fate is the spell. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Flying, it can't block. 2/2. I may have already seen this card, possibly. It sounds familiar. I think this card is just okay. Yeah, I did already talk about that one. And we got another Mythic. Alright. Keep going. Building. Keep all that glitters we already got. Stone Coil Serpent. Cost X. Has reach and trample. Protection from multicolored. Stone Coil Serpent enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Alright, pretty simple. Reach and trample. Yeah. Do whatever you want with it. That's solid. You know, I would definitely use it. The great thing about the artifact enchantment spells is there are a lot of artifact creatures in this, so you can really make good use of that. Okay. Yep. Alright, already seen these. Almost done, everyone. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please, in the comments, if you have made it this far, put in the comments what your favorite cards are. I'd love to hear it. I think I've read that one. Seer Kara the Bold. Kara, whatever it is. When Seer Kara the Bold or an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Seer Kara deals 1 damage to any target if you tap it. It's 3/3. So basically, like, it's Chandra, but minimized. The first Chandra. Whatever that one's called.
Revel with your king,
Oh, I really like
wild
the art in
and
that card.
sovereign and free.
Oko, Thief of Crowns. Simic card. Oh, it's a Planeswalker. +2, create a food token. +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk. Okay, so it's like that other card. That's cool. -5, exchange control. Target artifact to creature you control and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. Wow, that has a lot of utility. Food. I think this is a really good Planeswalker. I'll definitely use it in some Simic decks. Yeah. Okay. Spectre's Shriek. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, that player exiles that card. If a non-black card is exiled this way, exile a card from your hand. Huh. Alright, so you got a Thoughtseize. Except Thoughtseize is better, because it's not non-land. With the drawback. Yeah. I don't know. It's a sideboard card, in my opinion. Once Upon a Time. Oh, I'm so happy I got this. This is another card that is just really, really good. I've already seen this one. So, if this spell is the first spell you cast this game, you may cast it without paying its mana cost, so it's kind of like one of those ley lines. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. Yeah, so it's just really good. And it's the fact that you can get a creature or a land card. So you want to have this in your deck. 100%. You probably want 4 copies of it. Okay. Hypnotic Sprite. Oh, do we ever see this? Mesmeric Glare? I think we did. Yeah, we did. Feyburrow Elder. It is a Selesnya card. It has Vigilance. It gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. That's interesting. So good for rainbow decks. Tap for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color. Wow, that's really good. Yeah, this is going to be great for rainbow decks. Couple more. Glass Slipper, or sorry, Crystal Slipper. Equipped creature gets +0 and has haste. Well, that's kind of junk actually. Yeah, it is. The other thing is the equip cost is low, so you can get a lot of creatures to have haste, especially if you have a bunch. If you have 4 of these. But still, Seer Farron the Henge Hammer. When it attacks, another target attacking creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Seer Farron's power. Okay, so you want to buff this card, basically. Brazen Borrower. Petty Theft is the spell. Return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. Okay. Flash Flying. Brazen Borrower can block only creatures with flying. It's a 3/1. It's a mythic. Yeah. I guess it's good. I don't know why it's a mythic. I'm a little confused by that. Maybe I'm missing something. But, yeah. Alright. With that, we have the last deck. The last pack. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We're at almost 2 hours now talking about this. There are a bunch of decks that you get as well with the new set in Magic Arena. So if you don't have it already, go out, get Magic Arena. It's really fun. You can make your own decks. It's a good time. You don't even have to spend that much money at all to play this game. So yeah, thank you all so much. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.